Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Alright, so today we are looking at one of the most iconic legendaries of all time in the legendary Ho-Oh. Paired with Lugia, this dynamic duo has been one of the most popular Pokemon of all time, and they've actually been very powerful in Go Battle League. You probably haven't seen Ho-Oh as much because it's best used in Master League, but you can actually use it for Great League. But the way you get it is actually really interesting. So the only way to get this is to basically have a research Ho-Oh. And yeah, you have to have like a research Ho-Oh, or it has to be from like a low level account. So you can probably find a local or a friend or someone or a child that has an account that's like level 15, caught their Ho-Oh from research, and then you can use it for Pokemon, for Go Battle League. It's obscenely rare to find a Great League Ho-Oh. As you see here, if you look at the research, at level 15, or like, hold on, there has to be, okay, right here. So the minimum you can get is 1589. So you can't get it, you have to get it from like a low level count. It's very rare to get it. However, you do have one, that's the purpose of this video. Because it has Incinerate. I don't believe I've covered Incinerate before, or like an Incinerate Mon in like Holiday Cup, but Ho is actually one of the most powerful Incinerate Mons in the game, and if you see it in a battle, it's probably going to suck for you because Incinerate's a really good move that generates a lot of energy. It's really slow, but if you use it well, you get an Incinerate through. That's 20 free energy. As you see here from ppoke.com moves, there's Incinerate. If you do in fact get a Incinerate in through Duo Charge move, you just got 20 extra energy, and it does a hefty amount of damage as well, so slow, but very powerful, and generates energy quickly. Now, Ho-Oh is a tanky boy. Well, actually, not so much. It's very balanced, actually. It has a balanced attack, defense, and stamina spread. But generally, it's pretty tanky. As you see, defense, it's tier 1, so attack and defense are pretty even. Now, the thing about this is, like I said, it's obscenely rare for you to find one of these things. So, if you do have one for Great League, you are in luck because you can use it for this league. Now, the thing about Ho-Oh is that it does have few resistances and it does have few weaknesses, but a lot of resistances. So you're weak to electric, rock, and water. Now, those can float around a lot in the Holiday Cup. However, water I can only recall as Water Pulse or Water Gun. So it's like either charge move damage, etc. Other than that, ice does do neutral damage. You do resist fire, ground, steel, fighting, fairy, grass, and bug. So you resist the pseudo fires, you resist the charmers, you also resist fire spin users. Those Bone Clubs from Alolan Marowak, Mirror Shots from things like Magnezone, and Bug and Grass do little against you, so that means if you do fight a Venusaur, its Frenzy Plants aren't going to do much with you, or Vine Whip. And also Abomasew's Energy Ball. And if you encounter a Bug type, I'm guessing something like, well, what does do bug damage? X-Scissor, something of that sort. Well, if you see X-Scissor, but I don't believe there's a Bug type move in Holiday Cup. But as you see, Ho-Oh, very powerful in the overall. You'll see just how strong it is in the rankings and how strong it is on the Matrix. If you do have one, this thing is a beast in the Holiday Cup. Alright, so here's the rankings for the Holiday Cup. If you go down here, we scroll down. Ho-Oh is quite a ways down, but it's not that low. As you see, it's actually in the top 50. So Ho-Oh is actually a powerful lead and a powerful closer and a powerful charger. As you see here, you beat both Vigoroth, Alolan Marowak, Skarmory, Obstagoon, and Wigglytuff. So you beat the fighters and the charmers, and you're able to beat other flyers like Skarmory. You do lose against Altaria, things like Galvantula, just because of those electric type Volt Switches. Also Graveler because of Volt Switch and Rock, and because Rock does double effective damage against you, so you have to be careful of it. Stunfisk and Dugong. Dugong because of Water Pulse, and Water Pulse does heavy damage against you. Generally, as you see, it's very powerful in this league, and it can get, like I said, in the lead and closer, it's very strong. Very, very strong. As you see in the lead, Ho-Oh is actually ranked at number 6. I don't actually, you have to scroll down, it's like right here. At number 6, Ho-Oh takes out, like I mentioned before, the Charmers, Pseudo Fighters, and other flyers like Skarmory. Fortunately, you are going to lose to electric types, so you have to avoid Volt Switch users at all costs. However, it's not that bad. As you see, as a closer, Ho-Oh is incredibly powerful. It can even take out Stunfisk and like some of its negative matchups with Burb and Earthquake. So as you see, Burb and Earthquake are able to do a lot of damage overall if you're able to land it. The problem is Incinerate is so slow that if they get a move before you do, it's likely you're going to die. So just keep that in mind. If you don't have energy lead, Ho is very vulnerable. Don't recommend switch Ho-Oh as a switch. As you see, you're able to Diggers BXL, but you could throw Ho-Oh into a positive matchup. Just don't, like, if you lead with it and you lose lead, don't stay in that matchup because you're probably going to die. You see here, very strong ratings against, like, its weaknesses have very strong ratings against it, so just be careful. As a charger, number 27, Incinerate charges a little slower than your average Pokemon does, so well, it charges fast, but like because it's a 5-turn move, it's inherently slow. That's a good example. For example, if you use Volt Switch for 8 turns, you get 32 energy. For the 10 turns, you get Incinerate, which is 40 energy. So the turn thing is kind of it's really weird, okay? But used expertly, Ho-Oh can be incredibly powerful. As you see, overall, Ho-Oh is a beast, and because of its abilities, it is overall one of the most powerful leads, as well as a very strong closer. Alright, so as you see here, as you like, I always say, please consider donating to peepoke.com. Wonderful website. And I'm just gonna, like, here, you only want to use the Brave Bird Earthquake version. Earthquake does require an Elite TM, unless you use that special research one from, I believe, the Johto Go Fest or something. It was this event a while ago. I don't remember it exactly, but you were able to get a Ho-Oh Earthquake. Now this is where I'm gonna get a little this is where I'm gonna kind of go directly into science. This is the minimum IV for you to get one there's a minimum IV. So remember when I mentioned you can only get one from like a low level account? So if you play around with it, these IVs have to be super low. As you see, it has to be a really garbage, like, Lugia, like Ho-Oh. It's literally, like, either, I don't think, you can have, like, one or, how about 2 attack? So, it's, like, a minimum of 2 attack, but as you see, your IVs have to be so obscenely low that you have to get it traded by, a low level account. That's the only way you can get one. That's the only way you're going to get one for Great League. Or if you find a local who likes Lugia and they're willing to trade their Ho-Oh to you. But like I said, even if you do get one, the odds of you getting one for PvP, as you see, the IVs have to be super low. Maxing out at 14.5. So let's assume, if we assume the max stats for like 15, let's assume you have low attack or something of that sort, so that you can max out at 15. But as you see here, it has to have really low stats. 1 attack, 5-5. I'm going to go with this combination because this is where you're likely going to get it. It has to be a low-level Ho-Oh. So, as you see, 1-5-5. So, it's very rare to find a Great League Ho-Oh. Very, very rare. We're going to assume you Elite Team it. We're going to see the changes here, but that's just how rare this Ho-Oh is. You're not going to see this a lot, so don't fear it. This is mostly for science, and if there is one person out there that has this lucky burb, then it's going to serve you well. So, here's the 2 shield. As you see here in the 2 shield, you absolutely melt Obama Snow. You could probably incinerate to death. Now the thing about Earthquake and Brave Bird and Earthquake, it gives you a lot of coverage. Now, here's the dangerous thing. If you look at its weaknesses or look at what you lose against, so you'll beat a lot of things you fight against. Obama Snow, Frostless, Galvantula, Magnezone, Marowak. You even beat Marowak. Now, this is very baity. Actually, you just go straight Earthquake. So for this one, you could just go straight Earthquake, as you see for Marowak. As you see, straight Earthquake does take out Alola Marowak in the 2 shield, but you barely live. It's better if you do get it. If you do get Incinerate through a charge move, for example, if you do get one through a charge move, you'll lessen it. But as you see here, as long as you actually like eat a Bone Club, you should be okay. So you could eat a Bone Club, and then you could just shield the rest of the way, and then you'll win. But this is even though this is a very close matchup, you have a lot of play in the Marowak in the 2 shield. You beat A-Slash because you fry it to death. Same thing with Skarmory. You literally just fry both of those to death. Now, you lose against Snorlax, Stunfisk, Talonflame, and Vigoroth. The problem with Ho-Oh is because its IVs are so demandingly low because of its stats. That's the issue with Ho-Oh. In order to get a good one, you have to have these low IVs, and because of it, just overall, Ho-Oh's stat spread isn't very strong at the rating it's at. As you see here, if you look at its actual like stat pool, if you run in a battle in 15, it's not that high. So it's kind of glassy. It's kind of glassy, but you're still able to do very strong against a lot of things. For example, you're strong against Whimsicott, you're also strong against Wigglytuff. However, because of its typing, as you see here, you can get Charmed Down. So it is susceptible to the Charmed Down strat. You lose the 2 shield, but you can win in the 1s. So just keep that in mind. In the 2 shields, yes, Ho-Oh is strong, but as you see, you're losing to a slew of things like Altaria, Dugong, etc. So just be mindful and be careful of what you go up against, because you'll actually even lose against Pseudo Fighters. You'll lose against Vigoroth and Obstagoon. So just keep that in mind. Be very, very careful in the 2 shield. Alright, so we did the 2 shield. Here's the 1 shield. And as you see in the 1 shield, things get better for Ho-Oh. So what Ho-Oh definitely functions, in my opinion, in the 1 shield a little better than the 2 shield. However, as you see here, you beat a lot of things you're supposed to beat from before. You'll lose against Frostless this time, unfortunately, because without 2 shields, Ho-Oh kind of is like I mentioned, it's squishy. And with lack of good coverage moves, it kind of gets outpaced by a lot of things, i.e. Lapras, Lantern, Alolan Graveler, etc. That doesn't mean you don't lose it. You aren't able to beat a lot of things. So you're able to beat in the 1 shield, you're able to beat both Charmers and the Fighters. You're also able to beat things like Talonflame, Skarmory, Snorlax, and Alolan Marowak. So you beat a lot of relevant meta, but you do take a lot of L's to a lot of things that outpace you, just because Incinerate's slow. In the 0s is where Ho-Oh functions the best as a secondary, so in the second best position. As you see, taking out Abomasnow, Diggersby, Drifblim, Frostless. Frostless you lose in the 1s, but you beat in the 2s and the 0s, which is just really ironic. Now, you're going to lose really hard against things that outpace you, like Galvantula, Alolan Graveler, etc. But you still beat things like Mandibuzz, Obstagoon, Snorlax. You beat both Pseudo Fighters and the Charmers. So you still beat Pseudo Fighters, Charmers, Talonflame, Stunfisk, Skarmory. You lose against Skarmory because you get outpaced. The reason why is because, like, things that charge faster than you, Incinerate, it's better if you see it. So if you look at Skarmory, the reason you die is because you get burbed. It resists your Earthquake. You will never get to another move. As you see here. You get to the burb, it resists your burb, and then you just it can Sky Attack you to death. That's the problem. So, unfortunately, as you see the stat spread of Ho-Oh at this rating, it's not super tanky, so that's why in Great League, it kind of falters to other flyers. It can beat Skarmory in every scenario, it's just a closer. And it's very weak to water and electric types. Very weak. You essentially have to avoid them unless you have energy lead, and you have to one-shot them with them almost dead. So Ho has to be really careful. Now with shield advantage, you have hope. Well, a lot more hope. As you see in the 1 to 0s, you beat Dugong. You beat the entire meta except Dugong. That's it. Just because Dugong is able to debuff you. 2 to 0s, I believe you do you beat the entire meta in 2 to 0s? Yes, you do. So in the 2 to 0s, in the 1 to 0s and 2 to 0s, you beat the entire meta. Except for Dugong in the 1 to 0s. In the 2 to 1s, things do flip, but it's only against Stunfisk, Lantern, basically electric types. Electric types and Altaria. So Altaria beats you, all electric types, Mandibuzz just because it out-thicks you, and Stunfisk. So you 1, 2, 3, 4. You beat a lot of matchups, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you lose 5 matchups. So as you see, with shield advantage, Ho-Oh is very powerful. With shield and energy, it's obscenely strong. Especially in the 1 to 0s or the 2 to 0 scenario, as you see here. With the 1 to 0s only losing to Dugong. So I actually give Ho-Oh a 7 out of 10. So the problem with Ho-Oh is glassy. I think that's the biggest thing. It's glassy. Incinerate charges can get outpaced in this meta because a lot of things in the Holiday Cup do fast damage and spam. There's a lot of shield pressure in this meta, and because of it, Ho-Oh's not very safe. As you see, you get destroyed by a lot of electric types, basically electric and even like the ice water tank hybrids like Dugong and Lapras. You can't really tank a lot of damage. Ho-Oh's best position is also in the 1 to 0. So if you have shield advantage, you have a lot of positive matchups. And it's very strong in the lead and the closer. However, you just get destroyed by too many electric types. In the in even shield scenarios, it's great. As you see, 69%. Very, very, very nice. Extremely nice. Very nice. Best number ever. Best percentage of all time. There's nothing that can contest it, for sure. The 2 shield, as you see here, it's very bad in the 2 shield. Even though it's a great lead, and in the hindsight of if the meta shapes out to where electric types are kind of like, you won't see electric types as often as you think in this meta. So Ho-Oh actually is very powerful, but it can still get outpaced. That's why it loses so many matchups. Incinerate charges slowly, so unless you're able to get Incinerate through a charge move, you're gonna have a little bit of a difficult time. in the Holiday Cup. As you see here, you get destroyed by a ton of things. In the 1 shield, it gets better. In the zeros, it's also good. So in the zeros, as you see here, in the zeros, Ho-Oh does generally well, 70%. That's not great, but it's good. The 1 to zeros and the 2 to zeros, Ho-Oh goes to town. It's the best position. As you see, 98%. Ho-Oh won 90%, 80% of its matchups in the 1 to 0. And in the 2 to zeros, I think it still can lose, but actually it only loses to 3 matchups. Exploud, Lapras, and Loud Red. So Lapras can still beat Ho-Oh in the 2 to zeros. So that's basically what it is. Oh, actually not Lapras and Ho-Oh. Wait, hold on, I'm wrong. No, Aerodactyl. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, how does Lapras do that? If you have 2 shields, you can shield both servers. Aerodactyl and Walrein. Basically Waterfall and Rock Throw. So basically fast move mons. So in the 1 to zeros and the 2 to zeros, Ho-Oh's extremely powerful. So you basically, if you take your opponent to the zeros, you get shield advantage. Ho-Oh can run over your opponent. If you get incinerates through charge moves, in between charge moves, it's very strong. As here in the 2 to 1s, where you have shield, as you get simply as shield advantage, as you see, you lose against Dragonite, Aerodactyl, all the electric types, as you see here, electric types, even Altaria. Altaria is a close matchup, so I'd say you can still take out Altaria as long as it has chip damage. But as you see, very, very powerful with shield advantage. This is its best position. Because of its strength in the 1 to zeros and 2 to zeros, if you actually see someone use Ho-Oh in the back and use this strategy where it does the 1 to 0 or 2 to 0 advantage, it's very, very powerful because of the Incinerate. And if you can get Incinerate through charge moves, like I said, in between charge moves, you will get such a huge lead, especially in this cup. However, the big X factor for Ho-Oh, and the reason why I rate it so low, or I kind of want to give it like an X rating, as in I can't really rate it. A Great League Ho-Oh is obscenely rare. Like I said, the only way to get it is to get it traded to you from a low-level account, which is entirely possible. If you're going to do it legitly, likely not. It's not likely you're going to find a little kid out there that's level 10 just being like, hey, I caught this Ho-Oh. It was a while ago, because Ho-Oh came out several times, but if it's very rare you'll find a low-level account with a Ho-Oh, like I said. However, if you do have one, you're in luck. If you want to try it, it's actually a pretty good monster, like I said, in the 0 plus, in either the zeros, in the 1s, in the zeros, or in the 1 to zeros or 2 to zeros. Ho-Oh is very strong in certain scenarios. You get that scenario together, give Ho-Oh energy, it will destroy a lot of things in the Holiday Cup. With that being said, don't worry about it. This analysis is mostly for fun because, like I said, it's exceedingly rare. If you do find one, though, be very careful, because if you give this thing shield advantage, it can go to town. It will incinerate your life, your soul, and your elo. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. Again, Ho-Oh is going to be really rare, but if you do find one, that's one hell of a spice mod to have. If you do have one, I'm super jealous, and if you do want to use it for this cup, guess what? You can. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video.